It's time for Sustainable Living with Glenn Boblitz, the show that helps you be prepared to care for your family regardless of the circumstances that may come your way. Now, here's your host for today, Mark Lamb.
Well, we're back in the studio, 3 pounds heavier than the last time, maybe 5 pounds, depending on how much you had at Thanksgiving. Glenn Boblitz here. Hey, Glenn.
Hey, I'm on the 5 pound end.
I think I might be.
You know, our family's big on bacon stuff.
Yeah.
And, shoot, you eat a big meal and it's just fabulous, and then you break out the desserts.
Yeah, well,
you go, I couldn't possibly eat another bite, but I will take a piece of that pumpkin pie. And there you are, 5 pounds heavier, one more notch out on the belt.
Well, I'm definitely on the 5 pound side because you brought me a couple of treats.
Yeah, they brought a whole bunch of that stuff, and God, I don't need it. You know,
I understand. I didn't believe this for many years, but I think the time continuum and people packing on pounds for the winter months because it was going to be colder. I used to think, oh, that's just folklore, but I really think our bodies are designed to put a little bit more weight on because they know the cold. Our bodies know the cold weather.
Are you saying
it's inborn, almost
built-in caveman protection?
Yes.
Let's go with that.
I think that's what it is.
I'm gonna use that from now on. You realize that, right?
These are my caveman pounds I'm talking about.
Well, apparently I could make it through the whole winter.
Oh gosh. Well, what you got for us today, bro?
Well, did a lot of research over the long weekend, and I just want to know where we were at financially and all that kind of stuff, and that ain't good. Yeah. Run across the podcast where the guy was talking about we're broke. Yeah. We're bent, broke, into pieces, broke.
Right.
And he was saying even if you could stop spending, just stop spending,
right,
and use our GDP to try to bring us out, the interest, you couldn't pay the interest, just the interest alone.
Scary thought.
Well, it's a scary thought because it's a repeatable pattern that's going on clear back to this, 14th century when countries borrowed too much or too much war. They borrow money for war, and and they just go insolvent.
Yeah.
Moving forward through the timeline, it's happened like 6 different times globally.
Right.
That's where we're at right now. And the guy was speaking globally. And the whole world is at 325% of their GDP.
Wow.
Wait a minute. 100% means you're just paying your bills and that's it.
Right.
No extra.
Right.
We're at 320%.
Man alive.
Then he got to talking about America alone, and I'm thinking, okay, we're a little better than that. Yeah, 299. We're at 299% of our GDP.
Yeah.
That means we cannot pay this back. And now, we've been there for a long time, and it's getting worse.
Yeah.
And then you have these stupid ideas. I want $1 trillion extra for doing the little projects that one side of the government wants to do and the other side does not. And you go, we can't afford that. We can't spend that. We really ought to be cutting back. Oh, heck no. They're not going to do that because they've got people to pay off. People, they want that cash cow to keep flowing. Yeah, that's why everybody went crazy on Doge. Doge kept finding stuff, and that got quiet all of a sudden, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought we were really on fire as getting this under control, and somebody stopped that crap. Now, I don't know how many of those programs they actually shut down and the dollar value of it. USAID.
Well, the meltdown they had.
Absolutely.
The Democrats and the media
cut off the money.
Literally had a meltdown.
Well,
and this was a fraction of what needs to get done.
That's my point. All they did was scratch the surface, and they went nuts. That just tells you how bad it is.
Well, to my mind, it shows me how stupid they are. Because if it collapses, nobody is going to get anything. I'm afraid, Glenn, that the depression that our grandparents experienced, or my mom experienced. She was growing up during the Depression. She was born in 1924. So I hate to think this is a far greater plunge into the deep than that was.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. We just don't have the savings we used to have.
Right.
It was used up probably 8 to 10 years ago when credit was just, you could get 10 credit cards if you want.
Right.
And that made us vulnerable.
Sure.
And homes were at 100% of their gross product, just families. And they got a credit card in their pocket and just kept spending.
Right.
Now, that is not how I done it. I hate credit cards. I don't want to have someone charging me 8, 9, 10% on a home loan,
right.
much less 20% on a credit card.
Right.
I just soon cut that thing up and eat beans and rice from now on.
Right.
But that is not how America is living right now. Mm-hmm. They have to use the credit card because they don't have enough money to keep up with the inflation that they say don't exist.
Right, right.
Well, when that starts to happen, you're just digging a hole. Mm-hmm. And America has dug a hole so deep we can't get out of.
Right.
The guy was saying in this podcast, and I'll probably put this up on Sustainable Living on Facebook, so you can read it for yourself. Now, it's an economist who broke this down, so it's long-winded. Mm-hmm. You get lost very quickly in just a blah, 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 because some of it's repeatable stuff, but he's giving you history.
Right.
Fast forward to now. Mm-hmm. If we quit spending, it would take 36 years just to pay off the debt. If we quit spending everything, we can't do that.
Right.
We just can't do that. Mm. So there's going to be a reset of some type. There is no doubt, whether it's forced upon us or somebody makes a monumental decision to go digital and Bitcoins and whatever coin. Yeah. That's coming.
Yep.
And the reason I know that's coming because I read a book that says it's coming. You know which book.
Yeah, that's right.
So there it is.
Yeah.
So you either just default on all your debt and say, we're just going to reevaluate. Paper money is done. We're over with that.
Yeah.
We're going to give you X number of cents on the dollar. It's basically declaring bankruptcy on your bank account.
Right.
So there's a lot of people moving money right now out of the bank. That's a beginning of a run.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, It's a Wonderful Life, one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, that is a sad story right there because it shows you how fast it can happen.
Right. And people get irrational. I'll take the guaranteed $30 that the bank across the street says they'll give me.
Yes.
Instead of you making me wait 30 days and I get 100%. No, I'm going to get the guaranteed 30.
Yes.
Right away, you've taken a 70% hit.
Well, hyperinflation, and you can go through history and look this stuff up. Hyperinflation can happen where the inflation doubles every day.
Well, remember?
Oh my gosh!
Remember the old saying, "The wheelbarrow of money."
Yeah.
That they stole the wheelbarrow. It was worth more than the buckets of money that were brought in. That it was brought in on.
I think we're all just in a numb state and just operating on autopilot because we're really not looking around here.
Yeah.
There's so many things that are hanging over our heads at the moment, and I don't mean to sound too dark, but people, you're not paying attention. So what do you do? Well, first thing, if you have money in the bank still, is get that money out of the bank. because it's only paper anyway. Right now, it's just a digital data that you can withdraw out and actually get some cash, or you transfer it over something. Some people say gold. Well, okay, gold and silver, it has been historically a value that has always remained kind of stable.
Right.
But they can come and confiscate your gold. I just, when I hear that, how they did that, I can't remember. I think it was Nixon or no, it was before Nixon. Anyway, they can come and confiscate your gold, and that's a reevaluation. They revalue that gold, and that's how they run the country on it. It's something tangible, but it's just a chunk of metal here, folks.
Yeah.
Now, it may come back in value at some point, or it may drop to the bottom and won't matter.
Right.
If we have a collapse, it won't matter how much money. It's the same as the wheelbarrow of money. It's the scarcity that causes this.
Right.
You know, it's just a matter of supply and demand. So if we have a bunch of places that start collapsing and businesses closing and all that, there's no demand, and whatever you have is what you have. That's kind of what I've been telling you. For me, it's just food, shelter, water. We all know that. Not in that order either. Water, food, shelter. But having that gold, it may take you a generation to be able to use that gold, right? Everything is placed on, has a value, but the only way there's a value there if two people agree that there's value.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, we don't agree that money has value. Paper money has value. It can't. It's $37 trillion in debt, folks. That is a devaluation in the wrong direction.
Right.
So your buying power is gone. You know, what you could have bought, 5 years ago now cost you 4 times as much. The construction industry, they've poked in the eye, the hardest. Any guy out there or woman that's running a construction business goes to buy a truck, and they go $80,000 to $90,000 for a truck.
Yeah.
Now you look at that truck. Is that an $80,000 or $90,000 value there? No, it is not.
Nope.
So they're having a hard time getting rid of trucks. I wonder why. Well, all these car dealerships, they all have used cars. Used car lots now. Why would they do that?
Well,
because that's the only place to make money.
Yeah, it's what people are buying.
Okay, so what did that do to the used car market?
It made it soar.
You can't find a beater car that's dinged with 150,000 miles on it for under $3,000 to $4,000.
Right.
Now, if you're a young couple or a struggling family, you can't afford to come up with just $5,000 out of your pocket to get a car that you're probably going to have to work on.
Yeah. The president, I think, sees this. Did you hear about the 50-year mortgage they floated about 10 days ago?
Right.
50-year. And in Japan already, you pass the mortgage down to your children because they live in the same home.
Absolutely.
Because one generation, unless you're wealthy, can afford to own a house.
Well, if you think that it's just our problem here, it's not, folks. It's all over the world. It's much, much worse in Europe and everywhere else.
Yeah.
Is worse than we are. So what's happening over there? We'll turn on the news and find out. There's a lot of crap going on.
Sure.
I'm just saying.
Britain's teetering on some kind of a civil war, I think.
And it's getting more violent. I mean, you just follow the book. This is how it's supposed to go. Now,
right.
People in some of my chats will say we need to have pushback and nonviolent pushback and all that kind of stuff. Well, people have tried that in the rest of the world, and nobody's listening. So it's becoming more violent. Now, if you don't think that won't happen here, you're wrong.
Right.
If you don't think it isn't happening here, you're wrong again.
Yep.
There is things these shootings are going on that are pretty crazy. The guardsmen getting shot.
Yeah.
California and Stockton's people getting shot, and it's just senseless killing too. I mean, what's wrong with people?
Yeah.
They've lost hope in it, and they just say, well, it's jungle rules.
Some would call it civil unrest, Glenn.
Well, that's more than just civil unrest. It is just animalistic behavior, and you better get prepared for that.
Right.
It may be happening on the news over on one side of the country, but it could just as happily happen in our neighborhood with one ticked off guy.
Unfortunately, when I was doing talk radio, I say unfortunately, I kept all the news apps on my phone, so I'm getting pinged all the time. Rocky Mount, Alta Vista, Amherst, Lynchburg.
These are right in your backyard. Now,
and this isn't Richmond, people. These are the smaller communities.
Oh, yeah.
This is happening.
Yeah,
You hate to say by default we would expect it in Richmond. Isn't that sad to say?
Yeah.
But that's,
At one time, Richmond was like the third murder capital in the United States. That's pretty sad. I think Baltimore was number one for a while.
Right.
I don't want to be around that when it starts to really degrade. Now, right now we can still get everything we need. It may take you a little longer. Shipping, you may see some out of stock stuff, but here's your sign. When you start seeing that, there's a sign coming. So my point is, you people better start prepping like you're serious. I am. But back to the finances, if let's say you do have some extra capital somewhere, what in the world do you do with it? You can't leave it in the bank because it is definitely at risk. So what do? Buy gold and silver? Well, that's a good hedge against it, but it's not. If it collapses, you're not going to be able to get change from an ounce of gold. In fact, they started making the little breakable ones, to do that. But who's going to have a triple beam balance to scale and verify that it's even gold? I mean,
True.
Brass kind of looks like gold. So all that kind of stuff is an option. Some people say it's real estate.
Yeah.
Rental homes that'll produce an income. But that only works when people have money to pay the rent.
Right.
So you purchase a 6-unit rental house and nobody's paying the rent. That means you pay the rent. You pay the mortgage.
Do you see, and I just want you to go out on this ledge a little bit, okay? Do you see government intervening, gobbling up real estate? Because, if what's Mondami, is that the guy's name that's going to be the New York mayor? He wants to provide grocery stores. I mean, he wants to take socialism to the next level.
That's what the communists have always dangled out.
Right.
When we get in trouble like this, is we've got a better system.
Right. Would they take over housing?
Well, I don't think they'd take over as in government owning, but if they have NGOs, that's where it's being done.
Okay. And for those, that is, NGOs has bounced around a lot. You and I follow news, so we understand. Right. Just tell them what an NGO is.
A non-government agency or non-government organization.
That does government's bidding in many cases, correct?
It's like a silent partner.
Right.
The government says, we'll back you with the money, and you
run
it. You run it.
And so Congress doesn't have to...
Public-private partnership, which ought to be just illegal as crap.
It's a way to get it over the transom without having regulation and government do. Even though government's in it, it's sort of like you do our dirty work for us.
Exactly, because they can go, we didn't do nothing about that. We just provided the funding for this great organization. Well, that's what USAID was.
Right, exactly.
And there was a lot of nefarious things going on, and they just pilfer the money out of those places. I could see them going government housing, and they already have it. It's called Section 8 housing.
Yes.
They're doing this already.
Yeah.
I forgot who said you'll own nothing and like it.
Yeah. Shoot.
I
Yeah,
can't
it's
remember
one of
who
the
coined that phrase.
Yes. Dang. I'll look it up. Keep going. I'll look it up.
But they are not joking with that.
Yeah.
That is a for real possibility. Rather than to let something collapse, they go, okay, we'll just own that, and you can continue working where we tell you to work.
Klaus Schwab said it.
Yeah.
Klaus Schwab said, "You'll own nothing and be happy."
Yes, and that's what's their acronym? God, there's so many of these acronyms now. World Monetary.
Yeah. He's
and,
involved with all those.
Yeah, some 3-letter group of idiots.
Yeah, and they rule the world in a sense.
These people are not joking around. I mean, they don't have money worries.
Right.
So
they're
say
uber rich.
Yeah, they can say stupid stuff and just play with your lives.
Yeah.
Well, that somebody's got to pay the piper here, and it's always going to be guys like me and you.
Yeah.
And in any kind of collapse, war, it doesn't matter what it is, it's the people that suffer. It's not the government. You know,
World Economic Forum, the
Yeah.
WEF.
well, I put something else on the F, but that's beside the point. We need to change what we're doing and prepare
Right.
for it. That's all there is to it. Now, I don't advocate for violence or
Right.
anything like that, but I'm just telling you, there's not people out there that don't think as rationally as I do, because you do not want civil war.
Right.
Though it may come, you really don't want to. People have not gone through a war. We've gone too many generations without seeing a war and the effects of war in our own home country. You know, Vietnam was there, the Iraq War. You know, we lost a bunch of of our young men, but it really didn't affect us that much.
Right.
Now, this next one may not be like that.
Right.
Because it's
I would
economically tied.
I would tell people we're still getting, and that's when the advent of the iPhone was new. I mean,
Right.
this has been out for a while. But we were 10 years into the 20-year, conflict in Afghanistan.
It's hard to believe that went on for 20 years.
20 years.
20 years.
And we were still getting our iPhones. We were still getting, like you said, credit cards with 0 interest back then. I don't think you can find that now. But life went on. We didn't experience what our parents did in World War II, for example. Picking up, make sure you don't throw your cans away. Send them down to the recycle center, because we're going to make bullets,
Everything was
casings out of
saved.
or whatever.
My grandmother, when she passed away, we cleaned out a little building she had.
Right.
And it was butter dishes
Yep.
and butter wrappers from a 1 pound.
Oh, the
Yeah,
wrappers too.
yeah.
See, now my mom didn't go that far, but her Tupperware was butter dishes with lids.
Now,
there was a ton of them in her cabinet.
Some of that is kind of neurotic, but she sold butter back in the day.
Oh, really?
Because they had
Okay.
a cow when she was young, and she realized that, well, I need to save this.
Right.
Well, it becomes save everything.
Yes.
Because everything looked kind of dark and gloomy, and she thought war was coming again. And she didn't want to go through the have-nots.
Right.
I mean, you couldn't buy glass. She had talked about that. Shoes. You got these ration tickets. Now, this is just items that you just have to have.
Right.
You know, you can't walk outside in wintertime without a pair of shoes on. Well, they took care of their shoes a lot better than we take care of ours. You open up a closet, some of these young kids, they got 12 pairs of sneakers that cost $400 and $500 a piece.
Right.
That's going away.
Absolutely.
You know, what parent today could afford to buy their kids $500 sneakers? No, we got to put tires on the car. Thank you very much.
$500 would buy everybody's clothes for a whole year.
Yeah, I'm just saying we're getting to the point where we've overextended ourselves in credit,
Right.
and we can't pay it back. Now, what happens? One of these countries is going to say, we want our money back.
Right.
Worst one would be China.
Right. They're going to call
Well, that's how the wars get started.
in their marker.
Yeah, and they go, nope, we don't have it. We're broke.
Right.
Well, the only reason everybody ain't doing that to us is everybody's broke.
Right.
And no one can afford a war.
Yeah.
You know, everybody borrows money for war. That makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have the means to fight a war, you probably ought to talk it out first. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that's what Trump's trying to do, because
Yes.
he realizes it
Yeah,
just drains the resources of every country that's involved.
Yeah.
And then, like idiots, we have to rebuild it.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, the war would be the last way you'd want to deal with the debt that we're in.
Right.
That would be the final straw. But hyperinflation, they don't want it either, because it takes you to the same place, and it just does it very quickly. That's why they're trying to get a hold of the feds to reduce rates, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But you can't make a whole bunch of money available either at one time, flood the market with cheap money,
Right.
because that screws everything up, because prices go up.
Absolutely.
That don't mean make sense, does it? You know, we finally got a little money and they doubled the price and set in motion hyperinflation.
Can we address one thing real quick with the government shutdown? What we just avoided now, they're going to go at it again here in the next 2-3 weeks, which is stupid. But they wanted to spend $1.5 trillion more on saving Obamacare, which has been a black hole that we knew was coming, and that black hole got bigger and bigger and bigger. And some of that money was even going to pay insurance for illegal aliens too, and that was one of the things that we learned there. But we just turned away $1.5 trillion more in debt just recently.
Right.
Which is another nail in the coffin, and the heat that Trump took. And I know they said it was Schumer's shutdown, and I think that stuck. But it's like you said, Trump is a numbers guy. He looks at it, and I think better than most presidents we've ever had. He understands.
Right.
He understands. We can't keep going.
Printing money.
Right.
Because, that just reduces the buying power of guys like me and you.
Right.
If they flood the economy with this money by printing it, you're devaluing that dollar.
Right.
And that's one of the things that took down a lot of countries. They also, this is back in Roman times, when they figured out that we can't tax people enough. So when they would pay the taxes, they would shave the coin and take just a little bit off of the coin. I forget, there's a term for that. And then that didn't work because people recognized that the coins were shaved. So they reduced the size of the coin and said it was the same amount. Instead of a 1 ounce of gold, it was, somewhat less.
Right.
Even though it was whole and no longer bore the marks of being shaved, it's definitely smaller, thinner. Then they cladded the money. Lead inside and cladded with gold on the outside, and people cut the coin and they went, wow, this is fake too. So that's how they printed money back then.
Yeah.
That's how they did it.
Well, they call it, I'm looking it up. You sparked that interest. Coin shaving is known as clipping.
Clipping, that's
They
what
call
it
it
was called.
clipping.
Now, all this has already been done, folks.
Yeah.
This has already been done once. They're clipping your gold coin by printing paper money. We don't have the gold coins anymore. We have a note. And that note is being duplicated on a Xerox copier that only they own. It's the same thing. It's counterfeit money. No one earned it. It was not from producing more product. It was fake money. And it devalues your buying power.
Right.
Now, you can call it all inflation because stuff is going on. No, it's because your government is printing money. Now, the banks are complicit in this.
Yeah.
Greed is the go word on any bank.
Yeah.
They just want your money, and they're going to be right in there with the government when it happens.
Yeah.
They're not going to get hurt. Smaller banks, they'll get wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's keeping us going is sheer laziness, I think, is people are not going to run the bank when the economy is still functioning. There's going to come a point where it's going to quit functioning. I don't know what the trigger is going to be, whether it's Europe falls or China invades somewhere or war, whatever it is. I'm just saying we're all headed to that spot.
Can I read you the last line in this
Sure.
explanation of the clipping? It says, let's see, they call it fraud. They conclude that this is fraud. And I would
Absolutely.
agree. The widespread nature of this fraud, combined with deliberate debasement by the state, ultimately played a role in the decline of the Roman coinage and the broader economic challenges faced by the empire in its later days. In other words, it was coming to a close.
Right.
The Roman Empire was crumbling.
When they had to use that technique just to survive the next year, it's a clear sign you're going downhill,
Right.
And there's no stopping it. It's a house fire. You can't put out. You can't make it work by clipping.
Right.
That's what we're doing. We're clipping our dollar. We clip it by duplicating fraud money that was not real. Now, all that being said, so what's the only thing that's going to have value in the end? Towards the end.
I don't know if it's even gold. I think it is things, like you said.
Tangible assets.
Right.
Now, land would be a good thing, but it's not going to benefit you in the least unless you're growing food on it or producing something on it, and you got to have the money and the capital to keep that farm up or whatever you're doing.
Right.
And how do you get it to markets if the markets are collapsing? Blah blah blah. But when the dust finally settles, yes, you will have land, and you'll be able to buy things extremely cheap during the fall. You will be able to buy cars for pennies on the dollar because people couldn't even afford the gas,
Right.
especially if hyperinflation hits. So there is opportunistic people out there that are going to take advantage of that, and they will become super wealthy. Same way with the gold and silver.
Right.
A guy will have a ounce of gold, and he said, I'll trade you this ounce of gold for a ham sandwich because I'm starving to death. There are motivating factors to this. It's the valuation of what you need as opposed to what you have.
Right.
If you have an ounce of gold and no food, suddenly the food has the same value as the ounce of gold. When those two people agree that we'll make a swap.
Right.
Well, if you have to have an item and the only thing you have is a chunk of metal that a guy is willing to trade for, you're going to trade that chunk of metal. That's an extreme scenario. Starving people. If people hit that, we're already at a dangerous point. But towards the end, when you see that the country is collapsing and businesses are folding up, and you'll see runs on the bank, on smaller banks, and that'll be your clue. It could happen so fast, you're just not going to believe it. But so if you're stocked up and you don't have to trade your gold for a ham sandwich because you have ham, you have a way to make bread. This goes back to being sustainable. Power going out, all those kind of things. If we lose that, along with the economy, you have to be able to make up that difference of how in your lifestyle. power is one of them that is pretty bad. If you lose power, hold on to your hat, because people are going to lose their minds.
Right.
Because they won't have the phone, one.
Right,
you know,
right.
That'll
Won't be able to
take
get
out
on
all
Netflix.
Yeah.
I was right in the middle of that series on surviving.
But that's going to be towards the end. But if you know that's where we're headed, and you have some type of tangible capital that you can spend, I'd put it into something tangible, something you can put in your hands, or something you can put in your head. Knowledge, skills, all those things are what's going to become available.
Right.
Because as scarcities go up, so do repairs. You know, there's a lot of people that are taking better care of their car.
Yeah, they need it to
because
last
they
longer.
Know darn good and well they can't afford the next bump up. You know, if you just look back 7 years and say a car costs this much, and now it's $80,000, you go, I can't afford the next jump up when my car goes down, so I got to make it last as long as possible. So having some type of skill or cooperative skills to get you through this. And there's not many people that have those anymore.
Right.
Especially mechanics, you know, because it takes a computer to work on these cars.
Sure.
But, you know, that kind of sucks. Maybe you ought to learn how to take care of horses, mules or something. How to train my mule. You know, look it up today.
Sure.
So what are you doing? What's your plan? You know, what is your plan to protect you and your family, or you and your community, you and your extended family, your inner circle, your outer circle? There better be a plan here, folks, because the plan's moving on their side for sure.
Right.
And I wouldn't call it a plan. I'd call it their catastrophe is moving forward.
Right.
And, you know, it's going to land in our lap. Now, I don't fret over how the world is run. I don't like it, but that's a way above my pay grade.
Yeah.
So hand that off to somebody that's good at that kind of stuff. You know, thank goodness God's around, because I can't handle all that.
Yeah.
But I do know what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Take care of what you know to be important.
I mean, so if all of this is not just hyperinflation or something that the government does, maybe it's biblical. In my view, there's no maybe to it.
Yeah.
I knew this was going on 25 years ago because I read the book then,
Right.
and watched it all unfold.
Yeah.
And it's coming closer and closer and closer.
And I got to tell you, there's some really good Skip Heitzig, any of the John MacArthur stuff that he preached on Revelation before he passed. That's some good information to know, to understand, to give you some biblical, like Glenn is saying here, perspective, because it could happen so quick. You sparked a thought, because, you know, government and the smart people, they use terms like quantitative easing and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
They make up these words. This is to go back to the collapse in 2008.
Right.
Remember when McCain and Obama were running against each other, and then all of a sudden they got called back to the Senate because George Bush got a visit from the Fed chair and said, we might collapse in the next 10 days.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how quick it happened. And the senators all gather and they put this thing into action. Even John McCain suspended his campaign for a time to pay attention to this. That was something that just crept up super quickly, that they had to do something. Of course, it brought us things like cash for clunkers, and that was a mess.
It's a Ponzi scheme. That was a Ponzi scheme then, and what we're going through right now is a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
We can't pay it back.
Yeah.
So we're playing the Ponzi game,
Yeah.
and we think that, well, that's the best they can do. No, it's not.
Yeah.
One
of these days, we're going to lift up the shell, and the peanut's not going to be under it.
Yeah, there's no pea under any of the shells, and you go, wow, the whole thing was a scam. And there was people that made billions.
Oh my gosh, the money that's made.
I mean, when you hear these people say they made billions, or you hear in Congress talking about it, how somebody defrauded, blah, blah, that was your money that they got.
Yeah.
That's how much money we push into the government. I'm not seeing the benefit here.
Yeah.
I think it's Australia that said, we're just going to stop working. We'll starve your butts out in a month's time. We just won't go to work. We'll gather up enough food for 1 month, and we ain't going to work. This old guy come up with it, and he had like 10,000 followers, whatever. It was just dropping the bucket. But the concept is really good.
Yeah.
Starve them out. And I don't know how you could do that in today's time, because people are living hand to mouth already.
Right.
You know, in fact,
and people that make good money. You look at the government workers that were without a check for a month.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand this.
Well, they built
But-
their lifestyle on that
constant check coming.
on that constant amount of cash,
Yes.
and they burn it up as fast as they could get it in.
Right.
They go, okay, now we can buy that yacht.
Yeah.
Now we can buy $100,000 camper to go camping once a year.
Right.
But the payments kept coming.
Yes.
And now I had a sister that worked for the post office and could see these foreclosure notices coming in. All the envelopes seemed to look the same when they get them, because they were coming from banks that she recognized.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was unbelievable how many of the people that she thought were well off were living in $1 million homes.
Right.
And had no furniture inside because they couldn't afford them. They
Oh,
were
my
just
gosh.
keeping up with the Joneses. They
Right.
Or somebody come and repossessed their stuff. And that was 10 years ago.
Wow.
And it's way worse now. She's
Sure.
since retired and doesn't keep up with that, because
Right.
I'd call her up today and say, what's it look like now? But you're starting to see lots of homes coming up for sale.
Yeah.
People can't afford them. Or they're bailing the heck out of the state. I don't like the way Virginia looks right now. I think we're in for some angry times because we have idiots in control.
Yep.
I'm not sure if that was divine intervention is what it was that caused that, but I don't know why the good people of Virginia allowed that to happen. Either they didn't get out to vote or there was something nefarious going on. I don't know. But there's no good reason those people should be in office that I can see,
Right.
because they are evil people. They told us they were evil people right off.
Right.
They wanted to see our people killed. You can't let people like that have office, have power,
Right.
and yet there it is. So I'm not sure how Virginia's going to go.
Well, I can't remember the one guy's name who does the podcast. I sent you a copy after the election.
I can't remember his name.
Boy, you want a good, I hate to say it this way, a good apocalyptic look at Virginia. He will lay it out for you in like an hour, because he states that our new governor, she is
a controlled puppet that is
she is.
evil,
And
along with the rest of them.
And he's telling us, because he was in there for 8 years, he lays it out who's really going to run our state and what's going to happen.
Well, that's kind of what's been going on with a lot of places. I mean, the judges. I mean, you think these judges are making good, sound, legal decisions? No, they're told what to say, and you can tell it.
Yeah.
So this goes back into the confidence of the system, and we're losing that. Confidence in our financial system, we're losing that. There's not a whole lot left after that. So it just behooves us to become more sustainable.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
you can endure that. That's the only advice I can give you, is to set yourself up where you can endure some serious, I don't want to say collapse, but that's apparently where we're headed, because we can't pay our debts.
Yeah.
And that's called bankruptcy. So you can't even file for reorganization here We're too far in debt.
Right.
We have no visible means of getting out of debt.
Yeah.
Eventually, the creditors are going to say it's time to pay up. And then there's going to be some reset of some type. I don't care what it is. It's going to happen.
It's going to be painful,
Hyperinflation, just a default in our entire world where we can't get credit for our entire world. We'll just tell them, go pound sand. We don't have the money.
Right.
And we're not paying any more. We're done.
Yeah.
Or war. Those are the three options. And the digital will be part of that reset.
Yes.
So,
and you're going to have to come on board because Beck said it perfectly.
You will not be able to buy nor sell.
He said they'll be nice at first, then they'll say we'll give you 100%. Then it'll be 80. Then it'll be 50, and then it'll be 20. And the longer you hold out, the less you're going to get in the long run. Because many people will hold out 80, and we better take it now.
Yeah, they will. Because it'll be enough pressure on them that I don't want to lose it all. And regardless of how you feel about it, how mad you are, angry, it doesn't matter. You're only going to get 80% today. Tomorrow, it'll be less.
Right.
And it could be even worse than that. They could just say, you have 1 week to turn in all your gold and go digital.
I remember, Glenn, somebody that was at a conference 6 or 7 years ago. It was a big conference in Orlando, and it was a conference for a company like Rubbermaid or something like, not Rubbermaid, but Tupperware. It would be where you have people coming in from all over the country that would sell, so you got a bunch of entrepreneurs. And I know this one person from Lynchburg that went to this particular conference, and they sat next to somebody's who sold the same product they did. I can't remember what the product was. It doesn't matter. But the husband was in banking, and they were sitting at one of their meals, and they were talking about this whole digital thing was, being talked about even back then. And this, the government's already, and this is 7 years ago. We could flip it in less than a week.
Wells Fargo.
We could flip it in less than a week. That was 7 years ago. Can imagine how much quicker it can all be flipped to digital now with AI and everything.
Wells Fargo is ready. That's one of the largest in the world, and they said, yes, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
And they said it publicly, not at a private dinner.
Right.
It's out in the open here, folks. They're not hiding that part.
Right.
And yet you're sitting on your hands. Now, you either are going to go digital and are okay with that, and that's your choice. I think you're going to find it. You're going to end up in a place you didn't want to be.
Right.
Because once they can have the ability to turn you on and off with a switch,
they can throttle you back because you're buying too much ammo.
They could say anything. They could just make your card inoperable for a category of products.
They've already debanked. They call it debanking. They've already debanked people that had accounts with certain banks for 20 years. They debanked them because they didn't go woke or they were against the vaccine or whatever. They've already done it.
This is not theory, folks.
Right.
This is happening right in front of you. You're just not hearing about it.
Happened in Canada. Remember when all the truck drivers revolted during COVID?
Okay, well, what happens over in Europe is usually a precursor to what happens here. So if you like what's going on in Europe, just keep your mouth shut and sit still because you'll experience the same thing.
Yeah.
Because once they go digital and they can turn you on and off, and there's going to be unrest, there's no doubt about it.
Right.
I mean, Britain went about the digital ID to start with. What do you think our crazy people here are going to do? So when it happens, it's going to get ugly.
Yeah.
For a while. And then people are going to get hungry and they'll go and just sign up.
Yeah.
So once that happens, you become a slave, and it's no different than it was in the 12th century.
Yeah.
There's a ruler of you that tells you how much money you can make, what you can do for a living, all of those things. Here you go, folks.
Can I make a suggestion? Because I want to end on a good note here. We're at about 50 minutes right now, Glenn.
Oh.
But I feel like we need to tell them to go back and listen to some of your previous episodes.
Absolutely.
So you can prepare.
If you're going to endure this, you're going to have to be prepared. I think that's Matthew 24. Those that are prepared will endure. Well, you got to say endure what? Endure everything we just been talking about.
Right.
And then some. So I would start gathering your resources and your resourceful peoples and contacts and say, we're in trouble and we're all going to need help. If I make it through this, it'll be because of the contacts I have, because I can't do it all. You cannot do it all.
Right.
You cannot attain all the knowledge and materials to do it yourself. You just cannot do it. No one did it. That's
Right.
why they call it civilization, because we become together and form this alliance between people. Well, how many people do you trust? Well, that's a sharp question. There's only a handful of people you can really trust. Well, that'd be your inner circle, and then you're going to have people that you're unsure of their trustworthiness until they can prove that. Well, we don't even know our neighbor anymore. How are you going to prove that he's an okay guy? And he may be, because you ain't never talked to him. You've lived this little isolated world and have not been out in it interacting with these people. So I suggest you start gathering your people together. Get a plan. If you need something, you better find the guy that can make that connection for you. Obviously, being able to grow your own food would be a really good thing, even if you got to co-op it.
Right.
And I think that's showing up a little more from what I've watched online, how people are saying, we've got a co-op here. Would you like to be a part of it? Now, I don't agree with that method at all, because you could get somebody in there that could ruin the whole thing. But
Sure.
you start vetting your people and cooperating with one another.
Yeah.
Getting prepared to grow your own food and be able to get water. Those are the two primary things. If you can do that, you might make it through.
Right.
There's a whole list of stuff after that. Go through my podcast, our podcast, and glean out what you need to fit your situation.
Right.
And that's about all the darkness I want to have for today. On a sunny day, too. What did I do?
Well, just like Glenn said, you can go back and look at all the previous episodes that we've recorded, and it's on the Media Squatch, formerly Grove Street FM app. And of course, you can get all these on all of your podcast platforms. We're on Apple, we're on Castbox, we're on Spotify, and all the other, I think, Podbean. So you can find Sustainable Living Made Easy. Now, there's some other sustainable livings out there.
It's a popular subject,
Right.
folks.
So Sustainable Living Made Easy. You can find all the previous podcasts that we've covered, tons and tons of topics. Glenn, thanks. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you provide to our listeners.
Join us again next week for Sustainable Living with Glenn Boblitz, helping you be prepared and not scared. This podcast drops every Friday anywhere you get your podcast.